Honorable Men Discord. Let's talk Sean Combs, The Reckoning. Executive produced by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and directed by Alexandria Stapleton. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So let's get straight to it. At the time of this recording, I only saw episode 1 of Sean Combs, The Reckoning. For those of you that are unaware of this, this is a documentary that's on Netflix, and it's just capturing the Sean Combs trial, the federal trial, and it's also capturing his time with Uptown Records, as well as when he started Bad Boy. It's basically taking you through his life, Sean Combs' life. And again, at the time of this recording, I only saw episode 1, but I was so impressed by episode 1 and the way it was put together that I decided to do an episode on this. So let me first start by saying, if you have not seen the documentary, this is a spoiler alert, because I'm going to speak on the things that I liked about the documentary, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. So if you have not seen the documentary, if you plan to see the documentary, you may not want to watch this episode. So let me just go into my view on this first episode. Some of the stuff that was in this episode I saw from other documentaries on YouTube, but one thing that I learned from this episode was that I wasn't aware of the fact that Sean Combs was the type of individual that preyed on other people's women. What I mean by that is, I did not know that I want to say it was his wife, Kim Porter, rest in peace. I did not know she was originally with Al B. Sure, which was an artist for Uptown Records. Now, when I was coming up, Al B. Sure was a big hit. Al B. Sure would be the equivalent. Let me think of who he would be the equivalent of. And this might be a bad comparison. Al B. Sure would have been like, I was going to say Miguel. This is not a great comparison. Al B. Sure would have been the equivalent of like an Usher. And the reason why I use Usher is because of how attracted women were towards him. So, but not as far as popular. I don't think he was as big of an artist as Usher, but as far as how much women loved him, that was Al B. Sure. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because Al B. Sure found Kim Porter first. Kim Porter had been working at Uptown Records, I want to say as a clerk, and everyone in the office was aware of the fact that Al B. Sure was with Kim. And when Sean Combs started working at Uptown Records, when he saw Kim, he was, I guess, fascinated by her beauty, and he just could not resist trying to spend time with her, get to know her, despite the fact of knowing that she and Al B. Sure were an item. That part of the documentary, it showed his determination, although I don't respect that type of determination when you know someone is involved with someone and you just insert yourself with that person. But it just showed the type of person how he thinks. You know, when he's focused on something, it doesn't matter what it is, he's going to see it through, whether good or indifferent. That's one of the things that I learned from this first episode. I also, for the first time, I've never seen him look nervous and shaken and just out of frame. And right away, I should have said that first. The first thing that I noticed from watching this well put together documentary is that he was visibly nervous. You know, it shows him in the Hyatt. He was in a hotel suite, and this is, I think, a few days before he practically turned himself in to the feds. He was talking to, I believe, an attorney or someone from his team, and he looked nervous. And, you know, he spent his entire career, you know, showing, I guess, the good side of things or whatever he wanted to show you. But this was the first time I saw him as, you know, a human being. And I don't, it's nothing against that. It's just that a lot of entertainers sometimes only show you, and the same thing with common folk. This is what some of us do on social media. You know, we just show the great times, but we don't show what life is like when the camera is off. And this documentary, although for whatever reason he was willing to document him looking stressed out, himself looking stressed out, he showed it, you know. And how 50 was able to get his hands on this footage, who knows? You know, money talks. So whoever filmed it for Sean Combs, I guess, you know, they went for the best bidder. I don't know how it got in the hands of 50 Cent, but it did. But it immediately I said, wow, I never seen him look this nervous. It's almost as if he knew that everything was crumbling. It was like he knew everything was crumbling. He did not feel confident. I didn't see any bit of confidence. And you know, Sean Combs, his presentation, he's super confident. You could say he's cocky. I did not see that in this first episode. And he was trying his best to move around the city. They show him cycling through the city, doing like some exercise. And another thing I noticed is, I believe it's Groovy Lou, and correct me in the comments, I believe Groovy Lou was one of the people that was cycling with him throughout Manhattan. And Groovy Lou, to my knowledge, is not a designer, but he's someone who I'm trying to think of the term. He's not a fashion designer, but he helps you with your pieces and what your outfits. And I know there's a term for that, but I can't think of it right now. Just fill in the blanks for me, or just let me know in the comments. But I didn't see anyone on camera that I guess are real close to him during the recordings of him in the hotel whilst he's cycling. I don't know if it was intentional. Maybe they didn't want to be on camera. But where was his support system during this thing? The people close to him. I didn't see. And again, I only saw the first episode. So at the time of this recording, I'm only speaking on the first episode. I don't know what 2, 3, and 4 is gonna show. But so far, he seems lost. In the first episode, he seems lost. He seems not confident, and for good reason, because you see, we all know now that he's doing time. But he did not seem confident in his legal team. And it also shows how you could take away the fact that, there were some horrible acts that took place, like the young lady who unfortunately in the first episode said she was assaulted by him, sexually assaulted. And that's a very unfortunate thing. The takeaway from that is the fact that, unfortunately, when you have money, when you have when you're in a position of power, you sometimes get away with things. Or most of the times you get away with things, where she represented those that don't have much. And she spoke about the fact that she didn't have much, and her mother had wrote a letter to Sean Combs' mother, letting Sean Combs' mother know that he violated her daughter. And till this day, the documentary showed that to this day, he denies the allegations, and it never came to light that she was violated by him. And she spoke about how just seeing his billboard in Times Square, she just wanted to vomit. She vomited, actually. She did actually, in fact, vomit at the sight of seeing one of his Sean John ads in Times Square. And it just shows that the title of the documentary is so on point. It's so accurate, the reckoning that he did. And it shows, it shows that, people were affected that you may never know of. because of his larger than life name, you don't realize that it wasn't just Cassie affected by this, you know. And Cassie, although she was affected by it, she also was able to win a civil suit, where the woman who was on the documentary, who said she was violated and her images were flaunted and shown to party goers, she didn't win a settlement. Not only did she not win a settlement, not that she's on the documentary for a settlement, but she was never apologized to, and her name is pretty much unheard of until this documentary. At least for me, I did not know of her until this documentary. But it just really shows the dark side of the industry for some people. And I don't know how many people in the industry have this dark side that we don't know about. I don't know how much darkness is in the industry, because I'm an outsider like many of you watching, and I've heard about the devilish acts, the demonic spirit within individuals in the industry. But trust me when I tell you, watching documentaries like this lets me know I'm just fine where I'm at right now. And I know some people might watch this and say, oh, please, if somebody offers you the bag, you'd be compromised. Listen, if there's an opportunity to make more money, I'm all ears, but I'm not willing to compromise myself. I'm not. I'm just not willing, and I'm not willing to take part in a lot of the things that I see that these entertainers take part in. And I know it's easier said than done, but I'd like to believe that I would not take part in many of these things that go on in the industry just for the sake of advancing and becoming well off. Because like I say time and time in all the videos, you're not taking none of this with you. So the whole selling yourself for the bag, I think for those of you watching, I would just advise that you really consider the bigger picture for this thing called life. Sometimes, and I said this in a previous episode, I say a lot of things on previous episodes, but sometimes slow money is better than fast money. I would say slow money more times than not is better than fast money, because fast money always comes with a price. Now, although he had an illustrious career for a long period of time, it caught up with him. And based on episode 1, rightfully so. It caught up with him rightfully so because of the damage that he was doing. And although he was good at what he did as far as getting artist names out there and building up a brand, he's great at that. Building up a brand and getting artist recognition out there. The other things that he took part in was very damaging. And I believe he's in the right place right now behind bars. That's my thought on it. You could disagree with me in the comments. We could talk about it. Let me know about how you feel about how things have played out. Let me know what you think about his rise. You know, they showed in the documentary, this is also something I've seen in a previous documentary. They showed what happened in that city college when he held an event, a basketball event, and the lives that were lost. I think there was about 7 to 8 lives that were lost. And, you know, he didn't properly plan, I guess, security and all the ins and outs of the event to prevent a stampede, which took place. These type of things, like, it's just a history of just neglect and just no care just to get where he needed to go. That's what I take away from episode 1, is just a history of just by all means necessary. And it also meant it could involve nasty results. You know, the situation at Quad Studio with Tupac was explained in this or was shown in this documentary, and I've seen that plenty times over. But to see his possible involvement in the Quad Studio incident was just disgusting. It just showed how demonic some people can be just to get to the top. And I'll say it again. If that's what it takes to get to the top, I'm fine exactly where I am right now. And I'll slowly advance in life at the right pace, trying to do it honorably. And yes, pun intended with that one. But for those of you that seen episode 1, tell me what blew you away with episode 1. What stood out for you? Was there something included in episode 1 that you did not know? And when you saw it, you said to yourself, wow, I did not know that about him. I was aware of his father passing. I was aware of his mother and his mother's love for parties, because I've seen other documentaries before this one, as I mentioned. But the question is, does that make some of this stuff excusable? Because he had a rough upbringing, and I saw the docuseries that they did on R. Kelly also, and he went through a rough upbringing as a child. And I'm sure if there's anyone with a psychology background watching this episode, please let me know in the comments. Does this some way justify their behavior, or is it still inexcusable? People that go through this much trauma at a young age, and I'm speaking on R. Kelly, Sean Combs, does this justify some of their behavior to a certain extent? Or should they be held at the same standards as someone who did not go through that type of trauma? It's one of those things that, based on the trauma that I saw that Sean Combs went through as a child, you kind of feel bad for him. But at the same time, you also have to feel bad for those that he affected just the same. It's not one of those things where I leave the episode saying to myself, that's the bad guy, because there's more to it. So let me just end off with this. Some people, I know I saw something where Ja Rule had tweeted something disparaging about 50 Cent for putting out this documentary. But I can't say off the first episode it was done distastefully. I think it was tastefully done, and these are real accounts. So it's not as though 50 Cent and the director were looking for just salacious things to put out on Sean Combs. These are factual things. They had people actually speaking on it. Victims spoke on it in episode 1, and it's actually painting a realistic image of Sean Combs, the man who right now at the time of this episode is behind bars, and the young boy who had to survive his mother's lifestyle, his father being murdered. So it's actually a sad tale, but it was tastefully done. I don't look at it the way Ja Rule tweeted about it. This is not one of those things where, from the first episode, I don't see this as a blatant attack where I just want to be messy. This does not seem like a messy episode. This seems like a real account of Sean Combs, the man, and I applaud again, executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and Alexandria for what they did. Stapleton, I believe I said her name, his last name. I applaud them for what they did, and I can't wait to watch the remaining episodes. But what's your thoughts on all of this? What's your takeaway from this? I just want to say this also, ladies, if you're watching this, gentlemen, where you are right now in life, you might think is not enough, but just look at these type of documentaries and understand that the grass is not always green on the other side, especially if your rise to the top means you're rubbing elbows with people that are very demonic in nature. It's not worth it. And I say that wholeheartedly. I'm sincere in with me saying that. I'm sincere that, if that's what it takes to rise to the top in any field, I don't want it. I'm just fine right where I am. And trust me, I'm not a six-figure person, and life is good. And I mean that. Life is good. And I believe that for many of you all, your life is good also. You just don't realize it because you're comparing yourself to other people. But what's your thoughts on the episode? As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend and tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And as always, stay honorable.